that long day behind you. Good times lie ahead. With company worth keeping, that'll bash a smile on your head. Come on in, the door's open, you'll find just the finest folks here. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and lend our stories your ear. Cause we're the talk at the tavern. Here you're always welcome. The talk at the tavern. Promising beer and bedlam. The talk at the tavern. Music, medicine, then some. The talk at the tavern. The song's over. Here we come.
And welcome to the Tavern. I'm Travis I. Sivart. Check out my books on Amazon and other places. Fantasy and sci-fi. Fun, fast, and 5 stars. My vices tonight are bourbon, a cat in my lap purring and attacking my bracelets, and a Savinelli pipe full of Cornell and Deal vanilla Cavendish. What about you, Andrea?
Okay, well, knitting, of course, and I have some coffee and I have water. Those are my vices. What about you, Ed?
I am having an empty jar of water and Pinot Noir is always. I have cheese.
Nice. What kind of cheese is it?
Oh, those little Cracker Barrel little square thingies.
Nice. Are you just eating them by themselves, or you got like crackers?
I'm eating them by themselves because I think it would be rude to crunch crackers while,
That
on
might
the
be
show.
fair. Have you tried like the garlic Ritz?
No, I don't do Ritz crackers.
Why?
Living with my dad for 5 years, and all he would eat was fucking Ritz crackers.
Okay.
I don't do Ritz crackers.
Well, if you change your mind, try the garlic ones. They're good.
Okay.
They add a nice little. Okay, so a couple vices here in chat, because we do have a live chat talking with us. Maria says her vice is cuddling a soft blanket. Kitty says my vice is little foxes. And Rachel says driving a 2-hour commute to get home while listening to the Tavern. Glad to have all you guys here, as well as all the folks that won't tell us your vices, because apparently you're just masturbating with porn bots, which I still don't know what that exactly is. But our topic tonight and our opening toast, we're going to discuss, is there a cultural-wide shift from spending towards experiences versus goods? So here's to experiences which last a hell of a lot longer than anything you could fucking physically buy.
You're here. Real quick, what kind of wine are you drinking, Bree? Inquiring minds want to know.
That's right, and Joe says, my vice is a strong back with surgically attached feet. The fuck that mean?
That was 5 shows ago, Joe.
No.
I want to get up and get more bourbon, but the cat is now like making biscuits on my lap.
Move your pussy, get more bourbon.
Do what to my pussy and drink heavily?
Move it.
Oh, move that pussy
Oh my
and drink heavily.
Move it.
I don't know if
Work
it's a
it.
squirter. I don't know if I could drink her heavily. And also she's really hairy. So Kitty asks what experience.
All natural. Wow.
And she is black and white. So there we go. It's I got interracial pussy. So Marriott says that despite inflation and economic fears, it's seen no drop off in demand. And in fact, many of its brands have seen massive growth over a year. So could the explanation be that people are shifting towards spending money on experiencing things versus buying physical goods? And hello, Kennedy. Thank you for popping in.
What up, Kennedy? I'll toast to that.
I'll toast to that, but I gotta pour more bourbon, so.
So, I have a thought on this.
Yeah.
Yes, I think people want more experiences than things because during the pandemic, people were at home and all they did was buy the thing.
Right.
And they were stuck at home. And now they're like, I have all the things, let me go experience. So.
That makes sense. So you think they just overindulge on physical objects? They got all the new, or did they run out of things to buy? They've got all the TVs and
Maybe both.
stereos, or did they wisdom up?
Who knows? I think that depends on the individual. Where during the pandemic, I was working more than ever.
Right.
I didn't get the vacation. I didn't, yeah. So I'm on the other side of that. We've always decided, hey, let's go do the things that have the experiences rather than have the latest new toy.
Right. And for everybody who doesn't know, Andrea and I are married. So by that, she means we'll have a 5 or 10 year old television or still have a DVD player and not a Blu-ray because we'd rather take a road trip than buy that thing. We would rather spend $1,000 and go do something together than just buy the next big thing. Now, not that we
Yeah.
don't buy our things. What, Ed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mhm.
I want to read a couple comments already here. Maria says, judging by the number of people booking their Disney and Universal trips, I'd say that people are still spending a lot of money on experiences and memories. Yeah, the number of people during what is supposed to be a downtime in Disney Universal in 2022 is insane.
Mm-hmm.
See, and Ed, I'd say your general attitude is experience over item.
Absolutely, because well, my thing is outdoors, and
Right.
um, yeah, there's nothing like hiking, camping, kayaking. Then you have to buy things to do that.
Now,
But
is it you,
there's
Ed, that has the goal to like camp out and hike in like all the national parks?
yes, I'd love to be able to do that someday. Retirement's not too far off, so
We got to
another
make
10
that
years or
soon.
so,
Which,
maybe I can do that.
by the way, if you guys go to where we host, Ed, did you go do that thing on our hosting yet?
Not yet, but I shall.
Ed is going to make it. He earns all the money from Talk of the Tavern. So if you guys want to help support that, go to anchor.fm/Talk of the Tavern. And yeah, support. You can throw him a couple bucks. You can throw a subscription and get Ed some money. $7 gets him all the way to the end of his driveway.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That damn Tacoma truck burns a lot of fucking gas.
Yeah, that's it. Costs $7 to get to the end of the driveway with gas prices right now. So, chat, feel free to throw your thoughts in. Would you rather buy the, I can't even say new stereo system anymore because we're all listening to shit on our phones, not even our computers anymore. It's all like off of our phones.
Or in the car.
Yeah, in the car, which our phones hook up to play the things. Are you buying items? Are you getting that new couch, or are you going out and doing something? Joe Kennedy says some of those things, like Ed says, those items can bring enjoyment over and over. For example, as Ed says, camping. I have a tent, which I haven't used in some time, and I've used it twice in the past month, but a campground is a cheap stay.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed. Well, especially with COVID, people stopped doing things in crowds and did started camping a lot. A lot of campgrounds are booked solid. I mean,
Mhm.
I booked a trip in a campground that I used to frequent also. Stop drinking wine, and that I used to frequent quite often. I booked it in March. As soon as I could get a campsite was November.
Mm.
Now, on the other hand, I have read in the camping community, there's different camping blogs and everything. Apparently, people are starting to be irresponsible with booking campsites. They'll book them and not show up.
Mm.
Stop that, motherfuckers. I could use that campsite.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, Doug says must be a pretty short driveway, Ed.
I wish it was, especially during the wintertime.
Mm. And it's all downhill at like a 90-degree angle.
Or uphill.
Mm. Um, Kennedy says, I stayed in a yurt for the first time. Bree thinks it's all about moderation. She says, I still buy my happy ship, my art and book supplies, but not as often as I used to. I've been working on paying off my debt.
Me
So-
too. So I've stopped collecting cats. That's really hard.
How many do you have?
9.
When was the last time you got one?
I don't know. 3 years ago? Oh my goodness.
Bree says you
Been
also
a
have
while.
Travis to pet. Maria says, I want to say I would spend money on experience, not items, but I flip-flop depending on what it is. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I buy items. I fucking buy items. But there are things that I could put in my house that I can look at. If you could see the live broadcast of this, you'd see all kinds of really cool things behind Andrea, behind myself. I like Pops, Funko Pops. I have a lot on my wish list because they make me happy to walk around and stare at them. So there's nothing wrong with buying an item. And sometimes experiences, such as camping, require that you buy items. Ed, I remember when Ed was in a fucking tent. Of course, he had a queen-size bed on a wooden frame with a ceiling fan.
I mean, Teresa built that, but ceiling fan, come on. No, now we did have a chandelier, but ceiling fan, come
No,
on.
you had that ceiling fan up in the middle there. But now he's...
Oh, yeah, we did tie it to the battery operated fan.
That's right. And now you've got, when I go camping with Ed, he's got the pull behind trailer that he's upgraded to a bigger one, and then he's got a whole pop-up canopy that he puts over and puts sides on, and
It's a whole porch.
he's got his speaker system. He puts his phone on to play music, and it's a whole thing. But that's what he enjoys, and he goes out and experiences these things. Yeah, it's not quite glamping. He's not staying in an RV, but he is. And this
Oh,
is
you haven't seen the new one, have you?
new what?
RV.
Is that the one we
Oh.
saw last time when we went camping with Aaron and you?
No, it's a 25-foot drivable.
Where the fuck are you parking that?
We built another driveway
Where?
just down the hill.
So like
Oh my gosh.
the in the other direction from where it turns right and goes up?
Yeah, in front of the house. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Nice. What'd you do with the old one? Trade in?
Oh no, we still have it. The big one's probably temporary. It's long story. You know the story, my brother.
Yeah.
It's actually his.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
we're probably going to have to turn it back in because it was a dumb mistake. Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. I feel like experiences, for example, in 2016, Andre and I went to the UK. And we found the cheapest tickets we could. So $1,000 for both of us, round trip.
Round trip.
We flew over there, spent one night in London, where the airport was if we landed, bought a extended train ticket so we could go to the south of England, took a hovercraft across the channel to the Isle of Wight, and spent more than a week with a friend. And so
and the best thing was getting a week's pass for the buses and just riding the buses all over the island. That was fun.
Right, we didn't have a lot of money to spend, so we did buy a few things, don't get me wrong, but we lived like natives while we were there instead of tourists. And we stayed in a friend's house who's a professional chef, Kevin Crew, who used to be a regular on Talk of the Tavern a few years back. And
Kevin?
Yeah, here's to Kevin. We'll raise a glass to him. Maria says, see, that kind of vacation is already triggering my anxiety. Why? What triggers your anxiety there? And Kennedy says some of those things that pay for themselves over and over: kayak, barbecue grill, TV, etc. And by the way, if you like games, a board game or a tabletop role-playing game pays for itself many times over. Because when you get these
Many
items,
times over.
you can use this same game over and over and have a different experience each time.
Well, like for me, I buy too much yarn and knitting needles, but I make things and they're useful. And then the garden, I've spent a lot of money on that, but we got most of the food from it.
Yeah, except for what the squirrels took.
Yeah.
And Maria says, I need a plan. I need to know what I'm doing and where I'm resting my head at night. I don't need a plan every hour, but the general idea for the full vacation broken down into days. Maria, we had that. One night in London and the rest of the time at our friend's house. But we did just jump on the bus or the little steam locomotive that went across the Isle of Wight. And yeah. But we still had a plan.
Porch.
What's that?
Something's on our porch.
Do you need me to go look?
There, probably.
Probably
I'm
one of
just
those
letting you
dogs.
know.
Could be a cow. Who knows?
It happened.
And Kitty said, Joe's got an ad. Kitty says, oh, what I miss. I believe in a variety of things and experiences. I love to go places, but buying another fox plush is cheaper. She also said something up here. Did I miss it? Well, the point is, if you buy something that has repetitive give back, I can't think of the right word, returns.
I buy crazy stuff too. Like, here's one of my favorite purchases lately. I got me a new pen because I write letters. Look at that feather pen. Isn't that cool? It's got an owl.
Also, Andrea will buy wax stamps and seals. The brass seals that you seal a letter with, 200
I
years
use
ago.
that. You mean last week?
Yeah. Maria says, probably another cat. They heard Andrea say she was done collecting, and they were like, I'm here, Mom!
That's how we got Harry.
It is. He showed up under our window. Bree says, I haven't had a vacation in like 10 years. It's too expensive to travel like that right now for me, unfortunately. Bree, let me address that. Ed, how often do you camp outside of a 100-mile radius?
Rarely.
Right. How many campgrounds have you been to in the past 5 years?
One, half a dozen maybe.
Right. Now, Andrea and I, a few years ago, went, we both have a day off. We got in the car, drove from Richmond, Virginia to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and spent a day walking around Philadelphia. We saw the Rocky statue, we saw an art museum, we saw the Liberty Bell, and we stopped and had cheesecakes, and we stared in the window of a cat cafe. Cheesesteak. So my point is, we spent more on tolls and gas than anything else. But there are things within a 100-mile radius of you, or a 5-hour drive, or whatever. And Maria says, to be fair, though, you don't need to spend a lot of money to have an experience. Whenever we can, my sister and I will, sometimes with the dog, just hit the road. There is a great book called Weird Virginia. We live in Virginia, in case you didn't catch that. And we can look up this weird place, this haunted place, this place with a giant 24-foot roller skate, a dinosaur park, and we could take a 2-hour drive and spend a fucking hour there. Point is, we spend a day together enjoying each other's company.
So, speaking of not having to spend a lot and finding things to do, tell them about the $4 date.
So for Andrea's birthday 2-3 years ago now,
It was a while ago.
I went, I'm going to be a cheap ass, which, by the way, I knew Andrea would appreciate. And I said, I'm going to take you on a $4 date for your birthday. So in the morning, we got up, got dressed, fancy, like 1930-ish, 40-ish.
Mhm.
We went to Hollywood Cemetery, free. We walked around a cemetery, a huge, very popular, like world famous
Beautiful.
cemetery. What's that?
It's beautiful.
Took photos with weird tombstones, made all kinds of awful jokes, then drove a mile and a half back to Richmond, went to an art museum that's free to get in, and then the evening plan was the showing at the Bird Theater, which was only $2 per person to get in to see a second run film. By the way, Andrea then later decided to go into a place called, what's it called? Bygones, which has antique clothing, and she bought herself a beautiful.
Vintage.
What's that?
It's vintage clothing
Vintage.
shop.
Bought herself a beautiful flapper dress, and then she's like, I want to eat. We're going to get Thai food, was it? Korean food? Thai food.
Thai.
And so
Is that when she got the teeny weeny itsy bitsy yellow polka dot bikini?
no, but she did
Would
get
you like
a
butter,
basically
son?
just past the crotch flapper dress, fully beaded.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I tried it on. I'm like, this is mine.
she didn't even take it off. She's just like, here's the card. We're good. But yeah, we went and had Thai food, but I spent $4.
Yeah, because the movie theater, and it is what, a 1920s, 30s style
Mhm.
theater. Beautiful. And if you go on Saturday, which we did, they have a Wurlitzer organ that comes from the floor because they used to show silent movies and, they play along with it. And on Saturdays, it would come up from the floor, the guy playing and doing a whole thing. It was really cool.
It was, and it was built in the 20s or 30s, and then refurbished. So Kitty, yeah, I was planning on getting food, but Andrea, and I don't remember who paid for the food. It might have been me, it might have been her. I don't remember. Do you?
It was me because you had a picnic for us.
Oh, did I? Okay. I don't remember that because we didn't apparently eat it. Or maybe we did and we had Thai food too. I don't know. She saw it, she wanted it, she got it because it was her birthday. Joe Kennedy says even with New York City, which Travis knows, there are a huge amount of things that are free or very cheap. And that's what I'm telling you guys. You can have experiences without throwing down a lot of money. It takes effort, but that's it.
Well, and if you have kids, there's things too. Like when my kid was little, I didn't have a lot of money because kids are expensive. Barnes and Noble or a lot of the bookstores will have story time, and Barnes and Noble has a play area, and you could read books and not get in trouble. Libraries have little activities and story time and kind of like camps. They do all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of things that are free out in neighborhoods. You just have to look.
Movie theaters in the summer will often give free to $1 movies. Now they're old movies. They're not brand new movies. But you can go see Shrek or Shrek 3 or whatever kids movie. You don't gotta have kids to pay that dollar to get in. So Bree says that's why I read a lot of books. And that is something else. We mentioned tabletop role-playing games. You get a group of people or strangers.
I like role play.
Right. I think that might be different what you're talking
A little
about.
different.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But or have people over for board games, or have people over for that Lord of the Rings marathon that's streaming on the service that you pay $10 a month for. And
We've done that.
yeah, everybody brings a little food. You cook a little something because you don't got to sit and
Bring your
watch the movie.
sleeping bags and spend the night, man.
Yeah, there are things you can do that gives you an experience that you could never pay money for. Maria says some of my favorite experience, which is not cheap, isn't something most people plan for. A few times a year, my sister goes to dance competitions. While it's busy and we have zero downtime, I love having the experience of being there to support her and the team. There is other things like that too. Local conventions where, yeah, if you live close enough, you could drive home. You can go and spend $40 to $100 for the whole weekend and get in and see free shows, music, dance, comedy, a whole vaudeville type set, um, panels with
Well,
informative educational things. Andrea?
and also on another thing, because you do some conventions and things, it's a little one-day thing at libraries, and they're family
Mm-hmm.
friendly.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing.
Joe
The
G80.
Marriott thing. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Go
Go
ahead,
on, Ed.
Travis. The Marriott thing, though, I wonder if some of that could be attributed to COVID because flying and being boxed up in that little box with a bunch of people that may be sick, people just have stopped flying less. And here recently, of course, I hear a lot of flights being canceled left and right almost every day.
It's going to get worse,
People
and I'll
may
talk
be
about it when you're done with your
traveling.
idea.
Huh?
It's going to get worse, and I'll tell you about that when you're done.
Yeah. Could it be that people are just choosing to travel by car? So the trip that you would have taken halfway across the country, instead of flying, I'm now traveling by spending the night in a hotel versus, you know, taking the flight.
So there are more problems coming for the airlines. Basically, they already have a shortage of stewardess. I'm sorry, flight attendants. I'm old, forgive me, people. Flight attendants. Um, and they have a shortage of pilots. So this is risking a 10-year dip in availability of necessary personnel for airlines, which will raise prices, etc. So this flying might become even more unreasonable. Kennedy says Mermaid Parade cost me 2 subway rides. I did pay for cider and the Wonder Wheel afterwards.
Nice.
So yeah,
How
there.
do mermaids actually parade?
Flop, 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 flop. 3 miles. Fuck me. Flop, 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 flop. My mollusk bra is coming off. My algae bra. Oh, on floats. Of course, a mermaid would be on floats.
That's not quite as entertaining.
Not nearly. Though I do remember on Twitch where we have our live stream for our chat. Amaranth, I think is her name. I remember when she still only had 2 figures worth of people, like 50 people instead of thousands. And I calling Andrea into the room, come look at this shit. Because she was dressed as a mermaid and dancing to the music, which means she was laying on the floor, like, spasming. And then the other time, she was, like, in booty shorts and a sports bra with a horse, like a rubber horse head on, dancing. Fucking incredible shit. Fucking incredible shit. So, anyhow. Closing thoughts on this, guys?
Yeah, I mean, the Marriott thing aside, yeah, guys, there's plenty of things you can do besides buying stuff. Get out there, see the world, enjoy life, have some fun.
Andrea?
Oh, adopt a pet. They're fun. Cats are great.
There are
I
things
don't
you
need
could
it.
spend money on that will be repetitive enjoyment, whether it's board games, tabletop role playing games, or just going to somewhere in your local area. Believe it or not, there are things in your local area, museums, etc., that you should join. So here's to experiencing life instead of just buying a thing that you think fulfills you.
Shit, I'm out of wine. Found a sip.
There you go. Join us on the next one, guys, and find out what kind of bullshit we got to talk about. We'll see you then. Okay.